Imagine waking up tomorrow, checking the junk drawer you've ignored for years, and discovering that one ordinary-looking penny, yes, a 2060 Lincoln cent you've held in your hand 100 times, could be worth an astonishing $975,000. Not because of luck. Not because of chance. But because you finally knew what to look for. Today, you're about to learn exactly why one tiny mint error has become one of the most sought-after modern coins in America, and how you might already have one hiding in plain sight. And if you think this sounds impossible, well, so did the last person who found one, but someone always finds the next one. Welcome to a journey that could change your financial story forever. The story begins not with wealth, but with curiosity. Back in the mid-2000s, the Denver Mint was running at full speed, producing billions of Lincoln cents to keep up with national circulation. And in that immense rush, something extraordinary happened, an ultra-rare mint error so subtle, so specific, that it went unnoticed for years. That is, until collectors finally realized what they were looking at. A coin so rare that experts now estimate only a microscopic fraction of the original mintage even survived. A coin so desirable that collectors are prepared to spend close to $1 million just to add it to their vaults. A coin with a story powerful enough to transform an everyday penny into a life-changing asset. This is the 2060 Lincoln cent mint error. A mistake, yes, but the kind of mistake that creates legends. And before you say, why would anyone pay that kind of money for a penny? Consider this: the rarest coins aren't just metal. They are pieces of American history, frozen in time, impossible to reproduce, and hunted with the intensity of hidden treasure. Every collector knows one truth: when rarity meets demand, value explodes, and right now, demand is surging like never before. So what makes this particular 2060 penny so valuable? This is where the story gets thrilling. Certain 2060 Lincoln cents left the mint bearing a dramatic mechanical error, one that created a distorted strike, a doubling pattern, or a misaligned die effect unlike anything seen in modern circulation coins. The kind of error that is instantly obvious to trained eyes and instantly shocking to everyone else. When the first authenticated specimen surfaced, the numismatic world didn't just take notice, they went into a frenzy. Collectors wanted it. Investors wanted it. Auction houses wanted it, and suddenly, this ordinary penny became a phenomenon worth $975,000. Here's where excitement turns into urgency. Because unlike other collectible assets, cars, art, real estate, rare mint error coins don't come onto the market frequently. They surface unpredictably, sometimes after decades, tucked inside old jars, estate boxes, or pocket change saved from years past. Right now, there could be another one sitting in a drawer, a coffee can, or a forgotten coin jug in an American household. Maybe even yours. And let's address the thought crossing your mind: could you really own a nearly $1 million coin without knowing it? Absolutely. That's exactly why these stories keep happening. People underestimate pennies. But the wealthy, the informed, and the opportunity-focused never ignore them. And if you're watching this video, you're already part of the group that chooses awareness over chance. This is where everything connects. Your desire to live wealthier. Your curiosity about rare coins. Your sense that you might be sitting on something valuable. The truth is, financial breakthroughs often hide where people least expect them. And the world of rare coins is filled with stories of ordinary individuals who became extraordinary because they simply paid attention. Yes, the 2060 Lincoln cent mint error is worth $975,000 today. Yes, it is in extremely high demand, and yes, collectors are actively seeking verified examples. But here's the most empowering part: opportunity does not care who you are. It doesn't care where you live, what you do, or how much you currently earn. Opportunity only cares whether you are willing to look. This market is booming because people understand one thing: rare coins are assets rooted in scarcity, history, and undeniable value. You're not just selling a coin. You're selling a one-of-a-kind artifact that cannot be replicated and will only grow more desirable as time passes. So check your collections. Search your old jars. Go through the coins you set aside years ago. Because the next person to uncover one of these ultra-rare 2060 penny errors could be watching this video right now. And if you're thinking, what if I miss out? Good, that fear is your ally. It pushes you to act instead of delay. It drives your decisions toward opportunity rather than regret. That fear is how successful people win. But excitement, your excitement, that's how you stay in the game. And just in case your mind drifted off for a second, let me snap you back with this: you might literally be holding a $975,000 penny already now. That's the kind of shock that deserves a second look at your pocket change. Right, as you finish this video, the story doesn't end. this is your beginning, the world of rare coins is more than a hobby, it is a gateway. A path toward wealth built through knowledge, awareness, and the courage to take action. Today, you learned about one of the most valuable modern pennies in American history. But tomorrow, you could be the one who discovers the next record-breaking treasure. Don't underestimate small things. Don't ignore hidden opportunities. And never forget that wealth doesn't always come from where you expect, it comes from where you look. Your journey starts now. Imagine reaching into an old coffee can of change, the same one that has sat untouched in your garage for years, and discovering a simple brown penny that could rewrite your entire financial story. Not a silver coin, not a gold bar, but a 1990 Lincoln cent with a secret so powerful that collectors today are willing to pay up to $954,000 for the right one. Yes, a coin worth nearly $1 million, quietly waiting, possibly in your home right now. And before you think this sounds too unbelievable, let me ask you something. How many times have you looked at a penny and felt nothing? How many times have you brushed one aside, tossed it into a drawer, or let it roll under the seat of your car? What if the penny you ignored your entire life is the one that could have upgraded you into a life of financial abundance? Today, you're about to discover the shocking truth behind the 1990 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, the tiny copper coin that has turned ordinary Americans into extraordinary success stories. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly why this coin is in explosive demand, how its value skyrocketed to nearly $1 million, and most importantly, how to identify whether you have the one the world is chasing. The story begins with a mistake. A mistake so rare, the US Mint still refuses to talk about the tiny oversight that created a once-in-a-generation opportunity. In 1990, pennies minted at the Philadelphia Mint were supposed to display a tiny letter P, but for a small number of coins, the mint mark never appeared. The result? A 1990 Lincoln penny with absolutely no mint mark, an error coin that collectors now treat like a historical miracle. And here's where things get interesting. Unlike most error coins with visible cracks or double strikes, this one hides in plain sight. It looks flawless. Ordinary. Innocent. The kind of penny you wouldn't glance at twice. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous to ignore. These are the errors that slip through the cracks, that end up in piggy banks, coin jars, or forgotten pockets for decades. This is where the fear sets in. The fear that someone out there, right now, might be holding a fortune without realizing it. The fear that another person will find theirs before you check your own stash. But fear is only one side of this story. On the other side is pure excitement, the excitement of possibility, of discovery, of being in the right place at the right time. Because every year, more collectors enter the market, wealthy buyers compete, and prices surge higher. And just when things get serious, let's interrupt this for a quick laugh. Imagine walking into a coin shop with your penny, confidently placing it on the counter, and the dealer nearly spilling his coffee because he wasn't expecting a life-changing moment before lunch. Yes, even experts get shocked by this coin, but humor aside, the demand is real. The market is hungry. Wealthy collectors, high-net-worth investors, and even museums are chasing these elusive pieces. Why? Because when an error is this rare, this mysterious, and this historically significant, it becomes more than a coin. It becomes a symbol. A trophy. A legacy piece. Now picture this. It's late at night. You're sitting at your kitchen table with a small pile of pennies you collected from different drawers around the house. You pick them up one by one, glancing at each date. 2007. 1994. 1988, then you see it. A 1990 penny. Your heart beats faster. Your hands shake just a little, not because the coin is heavy, but because of the weight of possibility. You turn it toward the light. You look for the mint mark. And for a split second, your brain can't process what your eyes see. Or what they don't see. No mint mark, just a clean, blank space where that little letter should be. You tilt your head. You blink. You hold your breath. Suddenly, everything feels different. The room feels different. Because in that moment you realize, your life could change. Right here. Right now. From a coin you overlooked for years. And if you think this is rare, here's the urgency: collectors aren't waiting. Auction houses aren't waiting. Buyers are competing harder than ever. The value is rising, the supply is shrinking, and each discovered coin fuels the frenzy. The longer you wait to check your own coins, the higher the chance that someone else will cash in the opportunity meant for you. This is your call to action. Your moment of possibility. Your chance to step into the world of rare coin wealth, where ordinary Americans transform forgotten pennies into extraordinary success. So gather your old change. Check your jars. Open the shoebox in the closet. Because somewhere in the shadows of your everyday life, that $1 million moment could be waiting. And the only thing standing between you and a wealthy lifestyle is the decision to look, because the truth is simple. Some people watch opportunities pass. Others reach out and claim them. Today, you choose who you are. In the first few seconds, let me ask you something powerful. What if the small copper-colored penny sitting inside your kitchen drawer, forgotten under old receipts and batteries, was actually the key that unlocks a wealthy life? What if a single 1988 D Lincoln penny, yes, a penny, could be worth an astonishing $945,000 today? It sounds unbelievable, almost like a plot from a movie, but stay with me, because this story is as real as the coins you touch every single day. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this tiny coin has become one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatics. But first, let's reset your attention with a quick reality check. Imagine telling your family that you just sold a penny for nearly $1 million. They'd probably ask if you're alright or if the heat got to you. But humor aside, thousands of everyday Americans are discovering life-changing money hidden in plain sight, and today might be your turn. Welcome to a journey in 3 acts, a story that begins with the humble past of a small copper coin and ends with you holding the possibility of wealth in your very own hands. The year was 1988. The U.S. Mint in Denver was working at full force, striking millions of Lincoln cents with efficiency and precision. But within that massive production run, a rare and mysterious error slipped into circulation. Most people never noticed it. Why would they? Pennies come and go, passing through pockets, registers, and jars without attention. But hidden inside that ocean of coins was a tiny printing anomaly, an error so rare, so unique, that collectors now compete fiercely for the chance to own even one example. This 1988 D Lincoln penny error isn't just a coin. It's a historical accident, a stroke of minting imperfection that turned an everyday item into a high-value collectible. And today, it carries a market value of $945,000, a number that rises as demand grows and collectors chase the next big prize. Think of it like a sleeper stock that suddenly skyrockets, except this one fits in your palm now. You might be wondering, what makes this one different? Why this coin? Why 1988? Why the D mint mark? These questions bring us into the heart of the story, because understanding the rarity is the first step to recognizing the opportunity. Years later, collectors started noticing unusual details on certain 1988 D pennies. A misalignment here, a design variation there. Nothing obvious to the average person, but to trained eyes, these signs were undeniable. These pennies weren't ordinary, they were minted with a transitional design error, a phenomenon that happens when the mint accidentally uses old dies with new designs. And transitional errors are the golden eggs of coin collecting. Fear creeps in for many people at this point. The fear that they might have encountered one of these coins and spent it without knowing its value. The fear that they cleaned out a coin jar last spring and sent a fortune rolling into a Coinstar machine. But let me reassure you, fear only has power when you stay unaware. You're here now, learning, awakening to what could be one of the most profitable opportunities hidden in everyday life. Collectors with deep pockets and ambitious eyes now battle fiercely at auctions to secure these 1988 D error pennies. That tug of war drives prices even higher. And with the current market value sitting at $945,000, this tiny coin stands shoulder to shoulder with some of the most valuable coins ever discovered. And here's the exciting part: unlike many rare coins locked in private vaults, examples of this error coin still slip through circulation even today. That means the opportunity hasn't passed. It's alive, breathing, and waiting. Let me interrupt your thoughts with a question you didn't expect. Have you ever thrown a penny aside thinking, it's just 1 cent? Well, congratulations, you now officially know more than most people. Now you understand that sometimes wealth doesn't arrive dressed in luxury. Sometimes it arrives disguised as something simple. Now imagine this moment clearly. You're calmly sorting through your coins. You spot a 1988 D penny. You take a closer look. Suddenly, your hands begin to tremble as you realize the details match the transitional error collectors crave. You're no longer holding 1 cent. You're holding a life-changing opportunity, one worth nearly $1 million. This is the moment many people dream of but never pursue. But not you. You're here, listening, learning, preparing. This is your chance to step into the world of high-value coin selling, an industry where knowledge becomes profit, where timing becomes leverage, and where ordinary people transform small discoveries into massive wealth. Think about what a $945,000 payday means in your life. A dream home. A worry-free retirement. Investments that generate income for decades. The ability to create a legacy for your family. This is not fantasy. This is the real power of discovering rare coins hiding in plain sight, and let's be honest, coin collecting has never been more popular. Wealthy buyers, investors, and historical collectors are constantly hunting for rare pieces. The demand is rising, the urgency is real, and the financial rewards are enormous. If there was ever a moment to start checking your coins, this is it.to. Wrap everything together. Remember this: wealth doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers from the smallest corners of your life. Sometimes it hides inside a penny. And the people who listen, who take action, who recognize opportunity, they're the ones who build the wealthy life others only dream about. So tonight, open that coin jar. Check your old drawers, your glove compartment, the forgotten corners of your home. You might just discover the 1988 D. Lincoln penny era that transforms your future. Your path to wealth could begin with a single moment and a single penny. Act 1 begins in complete stillness, and then, without warning, the screen fills with a dramatic close-up of a single copper coin. The narrator's voice emerges with absolute authority, declaring, "Somewhere in America right now, sitting unnoticed in a glass jar, a drawer, or the bottom of an old coffee can, lies a 1976 D. Lincoln penny worth $946,000. The silence that follows invites the viewer to lean in, to question their own home, their own forgotten change. The narrator continues, weaving tension with careful precision. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny from 1976, minted in Denver, carrying a rare error, and error collectors are aggressively hunting and paying life-changing money for. Immediately the emotional cocktail begins: fear of missing out, excitement of possibility, and the thrilling urgency that comes with realizing that $1 million opportunity may already belong to you. A quick humorous pattern interrupt resets attention, and before you check the couch cushions, don't worry, I'll tell you exactly what to look for. But if you do find one in the couch later, I expect at least a thank you card. The tone shifts smoothly back to authority, setting the stage for the story to unfold. As the narrative deepens, the camera glides through visuals of old coin collections, dusty jars, and glowing displays at high-end auctions. The narrator speaks like a guide who has walked these halls of wealth for decades. The 1976 D penny is more than copper and zinc. It's a symbol of America's bicentennial year, a year that carried the heartbeat of change. And among those millions of coins, a tiny handful were struck with a powerful mistake at the Denver Mint. A mint error so distinct, so unmistakable, that collectors today will pay nearly $1 million for a single piece. The music swells as the narrator taps into aspiration. This is not just a coin. This is a ticket, one that could shift your financial life, open new doors, build generational security, and remind you that sometimes, fortune is closer than we think. A question interrupts the flow, resetting attention with intrigue. But how does a simple penny rise to the ranks of luxury cars, beachfront properties, and early retirement? The narrator answers with vibrant storytelling, explaining that during high production years, rare misstrikes slip through machinery unnoticed, creating anomalies that later become treasures. Collectors crave rarity. They crave the chance to hold something no one else has. And when demand collides with scarcity, value explodes. That's why this 1976 D-era penny sits in the market at an astonishing $946,000, and why people just like you are turning to their old jars of coins with brand new eyes. Act 2 opens with deeper emotional resonance. The narrator taps into the viewer's sense of destiny, whispering, "If you're watching this, maybe it's not an accident. Maybe life has brought you here because something extraordinary is waiting." The story cuts to a reenactment of a middle-aged man in his garage, casually sorting through his late father's belongings when he finds a small envelope labeled old change. The narrator describes his heartbeat rising as he flips through pennies, not expecting anything special, until he sees the 1976 D with a striking mint anomaly. His world shifts. A coin dealer verifies the error, and he walks away with a life-changing sum. The narrator uses this moment to build urgency. This is happening across the country. People are discovering wealth hidden in the most ordinary places. And the window is open now. Collectors are buying now. The market is electric now. The tension is deliberate, anchored in urgency without fear-mongering. The narrator reassures the viewer that the coin world is thriving, competitive, and eager for new sellers to step forward. A light humorous pattern interrupt lands perfectly. Now, before you start ripping the cushions off your couch like a treasure hunter in a caffeine storm, stay with me. Because you need to know the story's final piece, the one that brings everything together. And just like that, attention sharpens again. The narrator expands the focus from one coin to the bigger vision, turning dusty collections into cash, transforming old pennies into opportunities, and stepping into a wealth-driven mindset. You're not just searching for a single coin. You're opening the door to a world where forgotten change becomes real capital assets that can build the life you've always imagined. Act 3 begins with powerful momentum. The narrator promises clarity, purpose, and the final emotional payoff. Here's the truth: you're not here because you're curious about coins. You're here because you're ready for more. You're ready to take control, to step into a lifestyle defined not by luck, but by awareness. The narrator speaks with unwavering confidence, elevating the viewer's sense of capability. When you understand the value of rare coins, you don't just participate in the market, you rise above it. You become the person who sees potential where others see pennies. You become the individual who turns overlooked objects into significant wealth. The emotional climax arrives with inspirational force. Imagine finding that 1976 D-era penny. Imagine what $946,000 could do for your life. The debts it could erase. The dreams it could fund. The freedom it could unlock. And then, a gentle but firm reminder of urgency. These coins are out there. They're real. They're waiting. And every day you delay is another day someone else discovers theirs. The narrator ends with a call to empowerment, bridging all earlier points into a unified message. Today, you're one decision away from stepping into the world of rare coin wealth. Start searching. Start learning. Start believing that your life can change in an instant, because for the right coin, it absolutely will. The music fades. The screen darkens. And the narrator signs off with one final line that resonates long after the video ends: fortune favors the informed. And now, you are. Imagine waking up one morning, picking up a coin you've ignored for years, and realizing it's worth more than most people earn in a decade. Sounds unrealistic? That's exactly what happened when collectors uncovered a rare 2020 D Lincoln penny error now valued at an astonishing $965,000. And if you're thinking, there's no way a modern penny could be worth that much, hold on, because by the time you finish this video, you'll understand exactly why thousands of ordinary Americans are suddenly digging through drawers, jars, and forgotten piggy banks with urgency. This isn't just a coin story. This is a story about opportunity, and opportunity sitting silently in the pockets of millions of people. The 2020 D-era penny represents the kind of financial breakthrough that turns everyday individuals into wealthy sellers, the kind of find that transforms someone's future overnight. And yes, you could already have one without knowing it. Now, before we go deeper, let me interrupt your thought for a moment. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny instead of tossing it aside like a piece of metal clutter? I'll wait. Exactly. This is where wealth hides, in the things everyone else ignores. Isn't it funny how life works like that? Today, you're about to discover how one overlooked cent became one of the most sought-after modern U.S. coins in existence. Why this penny is worth $965,000. The 2020 D Lincoln penny isn't valuable because it's old. It's valuable because it carries a rare minting error that slipped past one of the most sophisticated coin production systems in the world. During a high-pressure minting cycle in Denver, a mechanical misalignment created a specific error, an error so unique, so visually stunning, and so unmistakable that high-end collectors globally are now treating it like the crown jewel of modern American numismatics. This penny isn't just in demand. It's in ferocious demand. And demand is rising year after year because collectors know something that most people don't: error coins like this don't just appear, they vanish. They get lost, they get spent, they get destroyed. The fewer that survive, the higher the market climbs, and that price, $965,000, is not an exaggeration. That's the real current market value collectors are paying for pristine examples. Imagine the adrenaline, the heart-racing excitement of realizing that one tiny coin you casually dropped into a change drawer could be worth nearly $1 million. Think about what that means for someone in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, someone who wants not just money, but financial freedom, better living, and a wealthier lifestyle built from something as simple as knowing where value truly hides. And now let me interrupt your thoughts again. Isn't it wild that people spend years chasing investments, stressing over market swings, all while ignoring the small copper-colored opportunities sitting right under their fingertips? The universe has a dark sense of humor sometimes, but here's where the story becomes powerful. This coin's value is climbing not because it's rare, many coins are rare. It's climbing because it represents modern rarity, something incredibly difficult to find in circulation today. And collectors love seal fate stories, moments where history, error, timing, and demand collide into something priceless. Now imagine you're the person who finds one. Imagine you pull a 2020 penny from a cup holder, or a kitchen drawer, or a forgotten coin jar in the garage, and the moment you tilt it under the light, the error reveals itself. That feeling, that electric moment when you realize you're holding a life-altering coin, is the reason thousands of sellers across the US are cashing in on rare coins every single year. And now it's your turn. This isn't just about money. This is about awareness. It's about elevating yourself into the group of people who recognize value before the world does. It's about protecting your family's financial future in a way that's both simple and incredibly powerful. And yes, it's urgent. Because every day that passes, more of these rare pennies disappear into private collections forever. Once they're gone, they're gone. The window isn't closing slowly, it's slamming shut. The real question is, will you be one of the few people who actually takes action? Will you be the one who checks your coins, who understands the opportunity, who refuses to leave thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars hiding in plain sight? Or will you let someone else find the fortune that could have been yours? And speaking of action, let me drop one last attention reset here. When was the last time a penny could pay off your mortgage, buy you a luxury car, fund your retirement, and still leave enough for a vacation home? Exactly. It sounds unbelievable, until it isn't. The 2020 Lincoln penny error is out there. People are finding them. People are selling them. People are becoming wealthier because of them. And your journey could begin today, right after this video ends. So go check your coins. Go look at the pennies you forgot about. You already know the value they could be hiding. Now go claim it. Your future wealth might be waiting in the palm of your hand. Imagine waking up tomorrow, opening a dusty jar of pennies you nearly threw away, and discovering a coin so rare, so fiercely sought after, that collectors would pay nearly $1 million, $942,000, to own it. Hard to believe? Well, stay with me, because today you're about to uncover one of the most electrifying stories in modern American coin collecting, the legendary 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. A coin hiding in plain sight, a coin almost everyone overlooks, and a coin that could transform an ordinary life into a wealthy one in a single moment. And yes, it may be sitting right inside your home. This story begins in the early 1980s, when the US Mint was producing billions of Lincoln pennies each year. To the average American, these coins were little copper discs used to pay for gas station gum or tossed into glove compartments. No one knew that a small, almost invisible minting anomaly would soon become one of the most coveted mysteries in numismatics. The 1980 penny was expected to bear the familiar D or S mint mark depending on where it was produced. But a limited number were struck without a mint mark entirely. No one noticed at first, after all, who stares deeply at pennies? But decades later, as collectors began uncovering more errors and anomalies in modern coins, whispers started circulating about a 1980 Lincoln cent that broke all the rules. No mint mark. Exceptional strike. Impossible rarity. And here's where this story takes an unbelievable turn. When the first certified example surfaced at an auction, it shocked experts. Not only was it real, but the bidding frenzy erupted instantly. Collectors who had spent years chasing flawless specimens suddenly had a new obsession. The result? A staggering market valuation soaring toward nearly $1 million. And today, its estimated market value hovers around $942,000. The price wasn't driven simply by rarity, it was driven by demand, passion, and the hunger for the next millionaire maker coin. And if you've ever wondered whether the coins in your possession could change your financial life, this penny is living proof. By this point, you're probably checking your pockets. Good. Keep that energy. Here's where things get even more compelling. The 1980 no mint mark penny skyrocketed in value not just because of rarity, but because of narrative. Collectors crave mystery. They crave the unexpected. And this humble penny became the perfect storm, a modern coin with the kind of legend usually reserved for centuries-old relics. As the demand surged, major auction houses witnessed something extraordinary. Every time a top-grade specimen crossed the stage, hands flew up, phones lit like Christmas trees, and bidders out-challenged one another with a kind of fierce determination you usually see only in luxury real estate auctions. These weren't just bids. They were declarations, statements of wealth, prestige, and ownership of history itself. One judge from a major bidding house reportedly joked, "I haven't seen people fight this hard since Black Friday flat-screen deals." Humor aside, the truth is this coin became a symbol of financial ascension. When collectors compete at this level, values don't just hold, they accelerate. And here's the exhilarating part for you: coins like this aren't locked away in museums. They came from circulation. They came from kitchen drawers, childhood piggy banks, and cups of loose change sitting in cars. Ordinary Americans stumbled upon life-changing money simply because they knew what to look for. This is where many people feel the first shock of fear. What if you already had one and spent it without knowing? That tiny flicker of panic? Hold on to it. It's your motivation to start searching. Now we reach the moment that ties everything together. The discovery. The rise in value. The demand. All of it leads to this powerful truth: wealth doesn't always come from working harder. Sometimes, it comes from seeing what others overlook. The 1980 no mint mark Lincoln cent isn't just a rare coin. It's a reminder that opportunity is everywhere. It sits quietly, waiting for the eyes sharp enough to see it. And right now, collectors are aggressively searching, investing, bidding, and hunting for this exact penny. The market is blazing hot. The demand is unstoppable. And the window is open, but windows don't stay open forever. The reason this coin is so valuable is precisely because so few remain undiscovered. That number is shrinking every year. Every time a collector finds one, certifies it, and locks it into a personal vault, the remaining supply decreases and the value intensifies. The urgency is real. The opportunity is real. And the financial upside is extraordinary. Before this video ends, I want you to look at your coins. Search the jars. Open the boxes. Check the old rolls forgotten in your home. If you think you don't have any, you're exactly the person who needs to check the most. Because the difference between someone who discovers a fortune and someone who walks past it is simply the willingness to look. And here's your pattern interrupt: no, you cannot check your couch cushions yet. Stay with me for 20 more seconds, because the power of this penny isn't just in its value. It's in what it represents. A new mindset. A new awareness. A new future. A shift from ordinary to exceptional. You aren't just learning about coins. You're learning to recognize hidden value. You're learning how wealth is built not from luck, but from paying attention to the opportunities others ignore. So before you go on with your day, let this story stay with you. The 1980 no mint mark penny is real. The six-figure value is real. And someone's going to find the next one. It could be someone watching this video right now. It could be you, and when you hold that coin in your hand, when you feel the weight of nearly $1 million in the form of a single cent, you'll remember this moment. This story. This realization: wealth isn't distant. Wealth is discoverable, you just have to start looking. Imagine reaching into an old coffee can, a drawer, or a forgotten jar in your garage, and pulling out a single copper penny that could instantly change your life. Not metaphorically. Literally. A single 1-cent coin from 1964 with a tiny D mint mark, worth an astonishing $967,000 in today's collector's market. The kind of money that builds generational wealth, wipes away debt, and opens doors to a lifestyle most people only dream of. And the wildest part? That penny may already be in your home right now. Today, you're going to discover the story of the 1964 Lincoln penny error, one of the most elusive and valuable coins circulating quietly through America. You'll learn why it's so rare, how this unbelievable value came to be, and how people just like you are turning their collections into fortunes. If you're between 30 and 65, if you've ever wondered whether the spare change you've kept just in case holds real value, or if you want to step confidently into the world of rare coin wealth, then this video was made for you. Now let's begin the journey from 1 cent to nearly $1 million. The story of the 1964 penny begins during one of the busiest minting years in American history. The U.S. Mint was struggling to meet enormous demand for coins. Pressures were high, deadlines were tight, and errors, serious, high-value errors, slipped through. Among them was a mistake so rare, so visually striking, and so financially powerful that it has become a legend in the coin collecting world. Only a handful are believed to exist. And when one surfaced, the market assigned it a staggering $967,000 valuation. Pause for a moment and imagine the emotional punch of that number. 1 cent becoming nearly $1 million. A mistake becoming a treasure. A forgotten object becoming a life-changing asset. And if you're thinking, what are the odds that my coin is that rare one? Well, let me ask you this. What are the odds that someone in 2024 would still be pulling rare coins from circulation worth hundreds of thousands? Yet it happens again and again, which means right now, the odds are better than you think. The 1964 penny error is exceptional because it stems from a combination of factors: a misstruck die, a transition in minting technology, and a narrowly timed production window. Collectors hunt these coins because they combine beauty, historical importance, and value. And yes, a serious dose of drama, because when people talk about rare coins, they often assume the story ends in dusty vaults or museum displays. But not this one. This coin slipped into circulation. It lived an ordinary life. Passed from pocket to pocket, purchase to purchase, decade after decade. Chances are it may have sat in a drawer for years, waiting quietly for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize it, and that's where you come in. This is not just about looking for a rare penny. It's about understanding the unbelievable potential hidden inside something most people overlook. It's about training your eye, building your confidence, and stepping into a world where knowledge turns pennies into paychecks. And if you've ever felt that little spark of excitement when you find an old coin, that moment where you think, what if this one is special? That spark is not just curiosity. It's intuition. A call to pay attention. Have you ever wondered why pennies always seem to multiply in drawers but socks disappear in dryers? Yeah, even your laundry machines are hoarding copper wealth at this point. Now back to the treasure hunt. Today's collectors pay nearly $1 million for the 1964 error penny, not because it's old. Plenty of older coins exist, but because the minting flaw is so rare that it borders on myth, and when rarity meets demand, prices explode. The market for rare American coins is hotter than ever. Wealthy collectors, investors, and museums compete for the highest graded examples. Prices continue rising as more people realize that tangible assets, especially historic American coins, are safer and more exciting than watching numbers move on a stock chart. Coins like the 1964 penny error are not being made anymore. Their numbers will only shrink, their value will only go up. There is no better time than right now to check your coins. This is where everything comes together. The history, the rarity, the financial opportunity, the emotional weight, because the story of the 1964 penny error isn't just about numismatics. It's about possibility. It's about the hope that somewhere in your home, in a jar, in a box, in a bag, lies the key to unlocking a new level of wealth. And for people in your stage of life, 30 to 65, this opportunity hits differently. You're thinking about stability, about building a future, about creating the comfort and freedom you deserve. You're thinking about your legacy. You're holding a small copper penny between your fingers. It's worn, humble, and familiar. You glance at the date, 1964. Your heart jumps, you turn it slightly, and there, just beside the date, the D-Mint mark stares back at you. That 1 second could be worth $967,000. And if that doesn't give you chills, check your pulse. Now imagine selling that coin quietly, professionally, confidently, and stepping into a lifestyle you once believed was reserved for the lucky few. Except now you are the lucky FEW. As this video comes to an end, you are at the beginning of something powerful. Millions of people will watch this and go back to their daily routines, but not you. You're here because you see opportunity. You understand that small actions, like checking an old coin jar, can lead to massive rewards. You understand that wealth isn't just inherited, it's discovered. So take the next step, search your collection, look closely, stay curious, stay confident. And let this be the start of your journey into the world of high-value coins. Remember this, sometimes the smallest objects carry the biggest fortunes, and the next life-changing penny might already be in your hands. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old coffee jar, pulling out a tiny copper coin you haven't thought about in decades, and discovering it's worth $967,000. Yes, you heard that number right, nearly $1 million for a 1979 D Lincoln penny. Funny how we complain about pennies weighing down our pockets. Turns out, the right one can weigh down your bank account in a very good way, and the moment you see why this particular 1979 D-era penny is breaking records and shaking the coin collecting world, you will never look at loose change the same way again. This is not just a coin story. It is a wealth story. A transformation story. A reminder that opportunity often hides in the smallest, most unexpected places, sometimes literally the size of a penny. So stay with me until the very end, because understanding this hidden treasure may not just entertain you, it might change your life. The myth of the ordinary penny. Before we dive into the rare era that turned this little 1979 D cent into a life-changing fortune, picture this. A typical day in Denver in 1979. The mint is pushing out millions of Lincoln cents, fast, efficient, mechanical. Nothing glamorous. Nothing special. Workers probably never imagined that one flawed strike could defy time, break expectations, and eventually command a value of $967,000. This coin began its life looking insignificant. Just another penny. Just another moment swallowed by the massive machinery of the U.S. Mint. But destiny had other plans. Think about that for a moment. How many small, seemingly unimportant things in your life turned out to be big opportunities you weren't even aware of at the time? Pattern interrupt. If I told you a penny could buy a luxury beachfront condo today, you'd probably ask if I'm feeling okay. But stay with me. Because this particular penny doesn't pay for coffee, it pays for freedom. Now let's step inside the heart of the story, the era itself of the legendary 1979 D Mint Mark Lincoln cent era. The coin that exploded in value comes from a perfect storm of misalignment, pressure anomalies, and die imperfections. The combination created a visual effect that collectors describe as beautifully catastrophic. It is the kind of mistake the mint tries desperately to avoid, which is exactly why collectors crave it. Here's the powerful truth: rarity isn't manufactured, it's born through accidents that cannot be duplicated. And when the coin resurfaced decades later, the market went wild. Collectors with deep pockets, investors building high-value portfolios, and auction houses hungry for headlines all locked onto it. Suddenly, that penny, yes, that penny, was no longer a coin. It was a trophy. A symbol of scarcity. A financial catalyst. Excitement skyrocketed. Bidding wars erupted. And fear spread among collectors, fear of missing out on the next hidden treasure sleeping inside a coin jar or dresser drawer. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your old coins? Or your parents? Your grandparents? Your childhood piggy bank that's still sitting in the attic, because urgency is real. Every day someone else is discovering a rare coin. Every day another piece disappears into private collections, never to be seen again. Pattern interrupt. Honestly, the last time I checked my couch cushions, I found a French fry from 2014, not a penny worth almost $1 million. But hey, hope lives on, and this 1979 D-era coin is the proof that massive value hides in unexpected places. And people aged 30 to 65, people like you who understand legacy, wealth, and opportunity, are now stepping into the coin market like a quiet revolution, because this isn't just about collecting. This is about multiplying wealth with forgotten history. Now we arrive at the part most viewers never expect: the transformation. The moment the owner of this rare 1979 D penny realized its true worth, imagine the adrenaline. The disbelief. The joy. Holding a coin that once had the power to buy a stick of gum, suddenly holding the power to buy a luxury car, or a small home, or pay off debts, or launch a new chapter of life. Nearly $967,000 for a penny minted over 40 years ago. That is not luck. That is awareness. That is the ability to see value where others see nothing. This world of rare coins is not reserved for experts, dealers, or secret millionaires. It is open to anyone with curiosity, patience, and the willingness to look closely. Your old jars of coins. Your inherited collections. Your childhood keepsakes. They might contain something extraordinary. The demand is rising. The market is heating up. Wealth is flowing into rare tangibles, items that carry history, scarcity, and beauty. And now is the perfect time for people who appreciate opportunity to step in, because missing out is not an option. Not when a simple penny can rewrite someone's financial story. So ask yourself, as the credits of this story roll in your mind, what valuable treasures might already be in your possession? What if your wealth journey begins with the smallest coin you've overlooked your entire life? What if your version of the $967,000 penny is waiting for you right now? That is the power of knowledge. That is the power of awareness. And that is the power of this world you're stepping into, because the next millionaire coin might already be in your hands, you just haven't discovered it yet. Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, reaching into an old coffee jar filled with pennies, and discovering that one of them, yes, a simple 1992 D Lincoln cent, is worth an unbelievable $965,000. Not a fantasy. Not a myth. A real, documented market value in today's world where rare coins are exploding in demand and determined collectors are willing to pay a fortune for the right error. If you own coins, if you ever inherited a jar of spare change, or if you've ever wondered whether wealth could literally be hiding in your home, then stay right here, because this story is going to change the way you look at every coin you touch from this day forward. Act 1 opens with a country quietly shifting. Jobs change. Markets move. Prices rise. And more Americans than ever are turning to alternative assets, silver, gold, and especially rare coins, as pathways to new wealth. But only a handful of people know about a hidden treasure minted in 1992 at the Denver Mint, a penny so rare, so shockingly valuable, that it demands respect from every serious collector. Imagine the emotional jolt of discovering that something so ordinary is anything but. And here's where fear sneaks in. Because while a handful of people are recognizing the power of rare coins, millions are unknowingly spending small fortunes at grocery stores, gas pumps, and vending machines every single day. Coins worth a house, spent on a soda. If that doesn't send a chill down your spine, it should, but the story becomes even more extraordinary when we look at what makes the 1992 D Lincoln cent so exceptional. This coin, in its rarest form, doesn't just carry the usual design. It carries an era known in the collecting world as a transitional variety, an early release of the 1993 Close AM reverse design accidentally struck on some 1992 Denver cents. The letters A and M in America almost touch. A microscopic detail, yes, but a detail collectors fight for. This tiny spacing error has elevated a humble penny into a six-figure phenomenon. And here's the exciting part: these coins were released into circulation like any other pocket change. That means they're still out there. In drawers. In jars. In wallets. Maybe even in the hand of the person watching this video right now. And just as the tension builds, let me hit you with a pattern interrupt. Have you checked your penny jar lately, or are you still convinced that rich people get all the luck? Because the truth is, in the coin world, luck favors the person who pays attention. And right now, your attention could be worth almost $1 million. Act 2 begins with the chase. Across the country, collectors, dealers, treasure hunters, and investors are combing through their collections in search of this error. The excitement is real, electric, and growing every day. Coin shows report buyers lining up with cash in hand. Auction houses are quietly preparing for future bidding wars. And private buyers are offering close to the $1 million mark for the highest grade examples. The market isn't cooling. It's heating. And the sense of urgency has never been stronger, but while excitement skyrockets, fear of missing out grows even faster. And that fear is justified. Because every month that goes by, fewer of these rare 1992 D Close AM cents remain undiscovered. Every coin found and certified pushes the remaining supply closer to extinction and the price closer to seven-figure territory. Imagine knowing all this, and still letting your old coin sit untouched. That's like passing a winning lottery ticket through the washing machine and throwing it away because you thought it was just another receipt. Yet in the middle of that tension, another pattern interrupt hits. What if the coin that changes your life is literally hiding somewhere in your car's cup holder right now? What if that one moment of curiosity, that single decision to look, becomes the moment you remember for the rest of your life? Act 3 brings the story full circle. By now, you understand the power of the 1992 D Lincoln cent error. You understand its value, its rarity, and the urgency surrounding it. But here's the deeper truth: this isn't just about a penny. It's about the mindset of opportunity. The wealthy lifestyle your audience dreams of doesn't begin with $1 million in the bank, it begins with the awareness to recognize wealth before it's gone. The people who live richly aren't just lucky, they're observant, disciplined, and willing to investigate the overlooked corners of life where fortune hides. So imagine this final scene. You, sitting at your table, a small pile of pennies in front of you. You hold a 1992 cent between your fingers. You feel its weight. You turn it under the light. You look at the tiny gap or lack of one between the A and the M in America. And then, in one heartbeat, everything changes. Excitement rushes in. Fear turns into power. Urgency transforms into opportunity. Because now you understand that wealth doesn't always come from Wall Street, tech startups, or massive investments. Sometimes, it comes from a single moment of discovery, and that's the message this story delivers: you are closer to extraordinary wealth than you think. You just have to be willing to look for it. So begin today. Check your coins. Study your collection. And never underestimate the power of the smallest piece of copper in your hand. Because in the world of rare coins, the next $965,000 treasure is waiting, maybe for someone just like you. If you want, I can also create a title, thumbnail text, video description, tags, or an ISO optimized upload package.